What if we had Gojo versus Sukuna, but again, and again, and again? Well, this video will be putting my young GOAT Teen Gojo against every version of Shinjiku Showdown Sukuna. Now you're probably confused, that's the same Sukuna, right? Well no, this brother has gone through drastic changes, so I'll use every form aside from the one that actually fought Gojo for 13 chapters because, well, the answer to that one should be quite simple. I can also continue to push my Teen Gojo agenda so everybody wins. Quick note, I will be using this magical version of 3rd year Gojo. He said he has to work on his domain and teleporting, but the overall bag is a lot more refined, so just take that into account. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to help a brother out. Now let's scale Teen Gojo because he's too underrated. Everything Toji and Maki has shown from a physical perspective, just double it for Gojo and put it into perspective that Teen Gojo is nowhere near his peak and doesn't even have a domain expansion. The usage of red, blue, purple and his overwhelming physicals is more than enough to make it an extremely competitive in this matchup. So let's put some respect to my young GOAT. Before Awakened Gojo, he still has some of the best portrayal in the series even before Toji slapped him up. Now I ain't gonna sit here and say Baby Gojo's in the top 10 in the verse, but no other character as a baby is putting this much fear into the entire world. He was truly built different. Not to mention Toji had PTSD from seeing a 6-year-old Gojo. Now I ain't saying a 6-year-old Gojo is being a lot of folks, but I'm also not saying he isn't, so do with that what you will. But I want you to know that his narrative impact is already crazy just as a child. Now you go to the Teen Gojo before his awakening, and that Toji had to make an elaborate plan just to fulfill his mission. Now I'm really focusing on Toji because he's equal to Maki. I know people be debating that, which is funny to me because how many statements does the manga gotta drop for you to get the point? The big reason I would say Toji is stronger is his arsenal is so clear of Maki, but nothing to do with physical stats or people love to run battle IQ. This isn't a Maki Toji run video, so I won't get into this, but broski, wearing down someone to get to sneak them doesn't make him 1,000 times ahead in battle IQ than Maki. The funny thing is, even if I agree he's far more elaborate in planning, it doesn't stop us using both of them as a measuring stick for power, which some people love to do. Also, Maki's 1 month time skip doesn't make her stronger than Toji either. They are equal, like, I don't get it. Some of you guys just love the character too much, you lose sight. But listen, this is not about Toji. Anyway, Toji was unsure on whether he could defeat Gojo without all the nerfs, which at the bare minimum placed that Teen Gojo relative to Toji. This is shown which he was able to track the cursed spirit but complained about he's too fast. As a child he was able to sense Toji, which is something he was not able to do this current setup, which shows how much he was nerfed. These aren't anti-feats for Toji, but the conditions were perfect for him, and not to mention the reason Gojo was caught off guard was he was worried for Riko, which is a factor that won't be involved in this situation. As Toji even commented that as soon as he saw the residuals of the curse tool, he would be on guard. So yeah, Toji could Gojo very easily, but he had the perfect situation, and due to Gojo's nerf that as the base minimum, Toji and Gojo are relative in strength, and it's still far more likely a Teen Gojo is a little bit stronger. Now Yuta is the strongest Jujutsu High student, however I still believe the heavy hitters are still somewhat relative to each other. Hikari has the statements from Gojo during the Sukuna clash about how they can jump in once he's weaker than either of them, and Yuta co-signed the statement from his discussion about Kenjaku by putting them on a similar scale. Now Hikari has been on eternal deadlock with Urame, Gege, you will pay, so right now his stock is pretty bad, but I don't see any reason to really doubt the character statements, and it's pretty clear cut that Yuta is the strongest. But how does this bode for Maki? Well, I'm low-key giving her the benefit of the doubt, and really Sukuna's intrigue into Maki is boosting her portrayal more. With Sukuna, he'd be locking in and out whenever he wants to, so it's hard to use as a measuring stick, but the fact that he did hit a black flash, which is a genuine confirmation he was in the zone, boosts my interpretation that the big 3 heavy hitters should be in a relative scale. Now this is important because from a physical perspective, none of them showed anything from speed that in my opinion has been better than Maki. This all depends on whether you think Hikari dodged the lightning, but low key, I may make a heavy hitter video because I don't want to focus too much on the external stuff. The importance is Awakened Gojo is so much faster than Toji is kind of crazy. My man was swinging his inverted spear of heaven and only Gojo in his Muhammad Ali bag and weaving between every attack. But Toji realized the guy was behind him charging up red and then sends him across the map. I'm so serious, it's one of the nastiest perception blitz, like my man is still attacking the air bruv. But the JoJo fans, if you repeat part 6, this is Pucci blitzing Jotaro type MP. Very nasty work. But for the most part I think speed's mad overrated, but with Gojo and Sukuna they are the exceptions, and that's for every version. Even 3-finger Sukuna or the version of Gojo now. Now, why I'm emphasizing the physicals is because even though he doesn't have a domain, there's such a significant gap in physicals from someone such as a Toji that I'm so serious the domain doesn't mean it to be the be and end all for the match. Not to mention that Gojo one-shot Toji before he could even react to purple. And Toji has precog. How do you have precog and can't react? That means the difference is substantial. Now, Yuta doesn't have precog with Child's ability, but he has to activate it by placing it on the user, so it's a little different in that regard. But the importance I'm trying to make is that Gojo is so broken. He also has Infinity, which you may forget prevents any attacks from hitting him. His regular punches are critical hits based on how blue works. And please, for the love of everything in this world, stop downplaying this Gojo, because it makes me sick to my stomach, I'll be so real. Him not having a domain doesn't mean he gets cooked by every domain user, when domains have actually packed up 3 people in the series. Hold on, I'm actually going to fact check this. Sukuna's finger bell, Megami's finger bell, and some fodder like Inumaki's arm and random civilians. I find it hilarious that the malfunctioning shrine is the only one catching bodies. So now we get to 3rd year Gojo. He doesn't have any feats, but we have statements that his RCT can be run 24/7. He's been working on his domain expansion, and if his previous portrayal as the strongest put him over the likes of Toji and Yuki, the added year we can headcanon he's a lot stronger. And let's start in reverse with the current Sukuna versus Teen Gojo. The Sukuna I'll be using as a reference point is the one he got his domain expansion back, so keep that in mind. We currently have Yujo locked in combat with this version of Sukuna. Mini timeout. Why are people doing a hybrid name? Just call that man Yuta, dog. Let's just keep it pushing. But the most recent chapter really put into perspective how built different Gojo is. The most important aspect though is how difficult Limitless is to use even with the 6 eyes, which explains Gojo's great curse technique proficiency. Granted, he has had it from birth where Yuta is uploading memories as we speak, so the drastic change is very much expected, but now with a fresher Gojo who has all the previous knowledge, he would do far better. The biggest issue is that this Sukuna does have his domain expansion and has access to the fire arrow. If he's able to cook up the furnace in time, which really and truly this Gojo isn't surviving. Not to mention his lack of a domain expansion to get to the current starting point is difficult, but Gojo does have some tricks up his sleeve. Quick timeout. When Gojo says he's working on his domain, 2 interpretations could arise. 1, he has his domain but is refining it more. 2, he hasn't completed his domain and is still in work. Since it's pretty ambiguous, I'm gonna just assume he's still working on it and it's not complete, but you're free to have a different interpretation which would change this matchup overall. We've seen he has access to Fallen Blossom Emotion, granted it's only there to provide relief for a short time. It could be very key if a domain expansion is used. I have no evidence for this, but if Yuji could last like 30 seconds in domain, Miro could protect Maki and all the other simple domain users in that makeshift domain Sukuna used, I'd venture that Gojo would last a little longer, especially as I rate him still quite a bit higher than the people I have just mentioned. Now I'm plugging in the version that is currently facing Yuta, just so Gojo can maximize his utility as he doesn't work best in pairs. From a physical standpoint, it's hard to say how they match up. A more locked in Sukuna was blitzing Maki, sending slashes, and then pretty much teleporting behind her instantly, so Gojo's best speed feat of Perception blitzing Toji is pretty much replicated. I'd venture to say Sukuna is faster because current Gojo is faster than this Sukuna, who could at least keep up with Gojo overall in speed, but I'm really just estimating he'd be faster. With domain amplification alone, Sukuna was initially on top, but once Yuta got locked in a little more, he was able to take advantage in hand-to-hand combat. There's also potential because he wasn't able to use his curse energy properly and some other additional stuff. It isn't a complete replication of Gojo, which is why this version did a lot significantly worse. Granted, Sukuna does have 1 arm, so yeah. But now with a fresher Gojo who doesn't need to learn how long his limbs are, he should comfortably have the upper hand in the physical altercation. However, he is on a very short window because we've seen simple domains get cooked very quickly. Examples, Yuki versus Kenjaku, we saw how quick that was, and Nabito using Fallen Blossom Emotion could withstand Dagon's short hit, but complained how strong it was. And so I'm assuming that output definitely plays a major factor to it, so I don't think it would last very long in Gojo's behalf. Now we know Hollow Purple would be dangerous to Sukuna. With him not having the issues users have with casting the abilities, he'd be able to catch him off guard to be honest, and Sukuna does not have the World Slash, meaning domain amplification and domain expansion is the only means of damage. But to be honest, Sukuna durability is like an Elden Ring boss type vibes, and even though this Gojo's purple should be stronger, I'm quite unsure to say Sukuna would actually die. With this version of Gojo severely lacking enough feats, a lot of the portrayal plus the usage of Yuta's performance right now in his body to make a comparative estimation of how Gojo would fare. The fact has only scaled up every version of Gojo, and the fact we already know his pre-version should be relative to Toji only boosts his stock for me. I'd venture to say this Gojo has a 30% chance of killing Sukuna, especially if Fallen Blossom could last long enough in time for Inumaki to use Curse Speech. Not to mention he won't have Curse Energy issues because his body and he can reinforce as he would. His hand-to-hand won't see such a dramatic decrease because he still uses blow as the basis for his overwhelming opponents. He's obviously nowhere near as refined or even close to the Gojo we know, but if we're to simulate the events, I say this Gojo has a great chance of killing the Sukuna, because I still think, I've had the opinion for a while, that Awakened Gojo is still stronger than everyone else from our modern day counterparts, even without a domain. So adding the third year, it just makes it kind of stacked in his favour. We've also seen in the most recent chapter that Yuto's purple wasn't enough to put down Sukuna, however it could destroy the domain. So Gojo may die, but it could be the setup for Todo and Yuji and Hana. The only issue if Gojo does die, then the barrier won't be in place, which is key to how they jump Sukuna. Todo's Boogie Boogie was at its maximum effectiveness in that range, however that could all be for naught because it's far more likely the simple domain is cooked before that, especially as we've seen the simple domain in current Gojo only lasts for a couple seconds. When he used the regular simple domain, he lasted a little longer, but when he used Fallen Blossom Emotion, it was literally just to kind of dampen the cut's output. So this Sukuna's output should be a lot weaker, so yeah, that pretty much wraps it up overall. But if Gojo was able to use purple in time to Toji, who's been portrayed as one of the most durable characters, got one shot. An injured Sukuna who's taken much more damage against a far stronger opponent, I'm pretty confident with my overall thoughts. So let me know if Gojo can beat this version of Sukuna, or you think he'll be a victim. In my personal opinion, Sukuna wins probably 80-70% of the time just because of how it is, but that's kind of how I'm feeling overall. Now I'll address what people are probably going to say in the comment section. There was some heavy debate that this Yuta with Gojo's body is not only be stronger than this Gojo, but stronger than the actual Gojo.
Wah wah wah.
Well, I'm happy we've come back to reality because this showcase has put my faith in my overall idea that third year Gojo is not only stronger than a Kenjaku, he'd be stronger than this current Yuta and everybody in Shinjiku not named Sukuna. Now the next Sukuna Gojo will face in the gauntlet is the one that did not have his domain expansion. And with a one post Yuta and Yuji's dump session in his domain, all the way up to the end of Yuji's awakening where he gained his domain expansion. I'll insert Gojo just after Maki gets Black Flash, so instead of Kusakabe 1v1 matchup, we'll have the strongest grade 1 and the strongest special grade team up against the King of Curses. Now if how Sukuna's interest changed based on the fighter, the Kusakabe master class is going to be put on hold because the priority will be Gojo, which funny enough works in Kusakabe's favour. This Sukuna can't use the World Slash as one of his hand has been cut, but with him hitting Black Flashes, he's on the clock to recover his RCT. The question is, can he hit a Black Flash while using domain amplification? And to be honest, I have no idea, so I'm going to leave that up in the air because that's a very good way he gains his reverse curse technique and domain fast enough to kill Gojo and the sorceress. In this instance, Sukuna hasn't taken as much damage and I doubt he'd give Gojo the leeway to fire for purple unchallenged, with this not being the max version of Gojo and he hasn't lost all his arms at this point. Hand-to-hand combat would be a lot closer, but if Yuji could cook him in hand-to-hand with Black Flashes and Sukuna using those feather Black Flashes that ain't hurting nobody, I'd venture Gojo would be calm, so he's looking good for the sorceress. But like I said, he has unlimited hit points, so Sukuna would survive long enough till Miguel, LaRue, Maki, Yuji, Choso all get together. Now just look at the array of attacks he's already ate so far, but granted none of them are as strong as a purple. Now with the combined effort, Sukuna should be cooked before he gets his domain expansion. With Yuji's soul punches, he'll never recover his output enough to use RCT on full blast. With the shot clock winding down to his domain expansion, of Yuji awakening just like in the current scenario, Gojo ain't getting taken out like Maki, Choso and Co. Not to mention, think how nasty a LaRue heart catch alley-oop to a Gojo purple could be, with Yuji spamming Black Flashes. With Gojo there, he may not be able to get hit by his Black Flashes on others as he'll be the predominant focus, preventing Sukuna from really getting back his domain and RCT fast enough. I know Gojo don't like working in teams, but the exception, and I'll be so real, Sukuna is cooked to me. He doesn't have anything to put down Gojo but his domain. With this Gojo still being mad strong, they should have enough AP to kill him. I'll be so real. In combination with Yuji's Black Flash Assault, with the next chapter he gets his domain back, I believe this version of Sukuna would actually die, but what do you guys think about that? He's still faster than all of them, has more AP, durability, but simply he doesn't have anything to put down Gojo that the combined effort would bear fruit. But there's also enough evidence because of his overwhelming stats that he won't allow Gojo to fire purples as we saw in the Gojo vs Sukuna clash, that he can survive long enough to get his domain expansion, and if that occurs then it'd be a wrap. They all get killed without Todo's assistance, and there's so many variables and granted purple now from someone who isn't configuring their body, there's a huge increase in firepower from the sorceress, so I'm going to say they win 60-40 simply because his durability is pretty crazy. The next Sukuna that will be up to fight is the one within the domain expansion with their serious tag team duo of Yuji and Yuta. Now I'll be inserting Gojo with his domain expansion, and in this scenario they won't be trying to save Megami, so RIP my go, you will be missed. And while they were super close to getting Sukuna on the rope, I'm not gonna lie, adding Gojo really is overkill. Now we know he couldn't do the World Slash. For some reason, people think that this mantle he used when he broke the domain is a World Slash, but he did not reach the requirements because Yuta had slashed his arm. We also know he can do dismantles without pointing or hand signs, and he's been doing it throughout the entire series. So that slash he did just was an enhanced dismantle that cut through everybody, and that's why him pointing at Yuta did the most damage in comparison to Rika and Yuji. If someone's trying to make this a durability thing, we verbatim got told that durability is relative and is less than Ryu. I'm talking about Yuji and Yuta. Now within the domain expansion, Yuji lowering output, with Gojo throwing purples, reds, blues. This the first Sukuna I can confidently say they beat, because it's just too much for him when he's very compromised. He also has to hold up Hollow Wicker Basket, as well as not being able to use his proper attacks such as the World Slash because they were able to counter against him. It's just not looking really good for him. Now I'm also giving Yuta a huge benefit of the doubt that he can not only keep Yuji unaffected by the short hit, but Gojo as well. But I assume the skill pathway shouldn't be that much different. I also think it's funny that Yuta did a lot better in his own body against stronger Sukuna than the Yuta, which I love personally, because people who were trying to tell me this Yuta would be as strong or stronger than the Gojo, you can hold that. But pretty much it's a wrap for him. The dismantles only affect Yuta and Yuji, and Gojo can use Infinity to block out everything. Focusing domain amplification with the jumping he already has, it just doesn't make sense in this scenario. Not to mention Yuta and Yuji were already aware of these things and made numerous countermeasures to prevent him from firing off attacks. However, let me give the flip side. If Sukuna becomes even more aggressive and is able to drop his hand sign to use a World Slash in time, he could damage Yuta and Yuji enough that the domain collapses, and then he'll be left 1v1 with Gojo. We also know that this current dismantles aren't enough to put Yuta and Yuji down, which means the World Slash or cleave is his only way. This will allow him to last enough because in a 1v1 setting, especially not being as weakened, he's comfortably stronger that he can last long enough to potentially reclaim his domain if other people join in for him to spam those black flashes. Not to mention scenario 2 where if Yuta can't keep the short hit of Gojo, then Infinity will be a victim to the short hit, then Gojo is a victim to a strong dismantle or a World Slash or whatever you want. But those schematics, and with this overwhelming AP of purple, Jacob's Ladder, whatever curse technique Yuta picks, and some soul punches, blood manipulation, all that combination, without his domain and World Slash, to me it's a wrap. So the Gojo is 2-1 up against Sukuna, where with 2 more forms to go, can he close out the matchup against the King of Curses? The next Sukuna is the one post Kashimo all the way up to his fight with Yuta and Yuji, and whoa, it's a long day for Gojo. I would pay money to see the stump of the ages because this would be nasty. To be fair, I'll let Komatoke be took from his domain expansion, but physical he's clear man. We saw far weakened Sukuna multiple times blitz Maki, and I'm so sorry Gojo, even if I still think you're faster than all the Jujutsu sorcerers, I'm assuming he got even faster in the future, especially as he hadn't completed his long fall teleportation, and all the other stuff that he's just got far stronger. He can also do the World Slash. He also at this moment of time hasn't taken significant damage, so he's pretty much chilling. You can send the entire Jujutsu society, and I'm so serious they're holding this World Slash to the dome. Broski, you can Edo Tensei the random farmers in the Heian era. They catching a World Slash. You can run the Gojo works better on his own. He's catching a World Slash. There is no argument, not even a question. They are all cooked. I don't think I need to go into too much detail, but you get my point. So with the clutch matchup, Sukuna evens up the score 2-2. With the final Sukuna form, it will be the one Kashimo faced. Now after his grueling fight against Gojo, he will now fight against Gojo, and his one-armed Megakuna will probably get slapped up just like Kashimo was doing to Sukuna. Bear in mind, Gojo ain't just going to be spamming purple, so the boxing will be quite vicious. I guess a hint of PTSD of Sukuna, if you really think about it. But after a very short time, the King of Curses will revive his Heian era form. And who do you think will win? Well, Kashimo's showcase against Heian Sukuna was yeah. And Gojo's showcase would be yeah. So I'm so serious, these last 2 ones are the nastiest stunts, and it's pretty much why I focus a lot more on the first 2. I don't need to scale nothing to tell you he's a World Slash victim. Even if someone says cause he has to aim it, and Gojo's still fast enough, he can stop it. Man, I ain't trying to entertain that. We saw Kashimo who transcended the human realm, whatever that means, getting blitzed. Granted, Komatoke won't be useful cause Infinity, but just like to blind him for a couple seconds like he did to Kashimo, and then to punch him into a World Slash. The combination of how he get bullied is kinda endless, so that's pretty much a wrap. So Sukuna comes back like LeBron to savor a 3-2 win. What was the main point of this video? Was it to glaze Sukuna? Now if you want some real Sukuna hype, I got you in the future. Trust me, I can really hype Sukuna. The main objective of this video is that Teen Gojo is stronger than your favorite character, not named Sukuna and Gojo. For some reason, people run the domain argument all the time, and I agree it's very important. It was called the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcerer. But like, them man can't even chat to him physically, then they don't even have his hacks in neutral affinity. They don't even have regular moves such as a purple that are stronger, so why is he so underrated? And also, domain expansion has only cooked 2 finger barriers and some random fodder in Shibuya, so please respect him. But I hope I've shown some light to why Gojo is him, and every version for that matter. And even that baby version is cooking some people. I'm so serious. Like, Nayo's probably a victim. If you'd like to see some other videos, shout me, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to run some cross-verse. I'm thinking of doing Sukuna versus My Hero and Gojo versus My Hero. So if you'd like to see that, obviously let me know, and just give me all your thoughts down below, and make sure to subscribe.